Hello, I just wanted to do a little reading into the energies for the rest of the year and then into the coming year ahead. So I haven't tuned into the energies for 2021 yet, but the energies towards the end of this year, I don't really want to go in too deeply. However, we've got the energy of intensifying crisis, and the energy is getting really, really frantic. But at the same time that we've got the energies of intensifying crisis, we have got much more access to light than we ever have before. And when I say access to light, I want to preface that there's a lot of speaking about false light and that you will hear around at the moment, and that's completely true. But that doesn't mean that all light is evil, or evil disguised and trying to trick you. So the base component of the universe that we live in, the functionality, the things that make our universe real on all levels, the thing that makes our existence pop out of the void is love. And love can be experienced as light. That pure love that we are talking about, not an emotional love. And a lot of people still identify with the idea of love being an emotional love, when this is not what we're talking about. We're talking about the base foundation of our universe. Now, this can be experienced as light. It can also be experienced as love. It is the same thing. And this love that is light is accepting of all. It actually is the base particle that everything in our world is made out of. Whether you think it's dark or negative, or whether you think it's light and positive, it's still all made out of the same stuff. It is made out of love. It is made out of light. There is no way that anything in our existence can be made of anything else. Okay? So there is no ability for there to be no light. There can be a perception of light being absent or love being absent. Remember, it's a perception. Okay. So then we have the duality side of light and dark. This light which is exclusionary, this light which is divisive, this light which cuts out people. This is what we don't want to be fueling ourselves with, because it's this light that creates more polarity. So how do we work as light workers without buying into the polarity? We allow ourselves the truest expression of our heart essence, the truest expression of that love that makes all. Because it's only mind that separates us. It is mind that creates separation. And the more mind is active, the more there is separation. That is what the darkness is being stuck in mind, being stuck in lower mental based power. Now, I know it's really hard when we get into this higher, lower. Rather than higher or lower, let's just think of more or less authentic. more, the further away we get from source, the further away we get from that point that is light and love, the more possibility we get to go into story and mind, the bigger the things that we project, the bigger the things that we create. And the less actual light it has. It's true of both sides of that polarity, whether you're falling on the light or falling on the dark. It's all story. It's all on that plane. The only place there is truth is source. Okay, so when I say there's more light available to us, we're closer to source inside ourselves. Our experience of that source light, that source energy, the foundation building blocks of our existence is closer in our experience. We can feel it more inside us. It is waking up or switching on more and more and more people. Okay. Doesn't mean that that's going to be easy, because it can feel like crisis even when we're awakening. Okay, that's the crisis. I'm going to go in and tune into now the rest of the timeline. I feel like there's a lot of deep grieving, letting go. Wow, okay, so it's letting go of the facades. It's letting go of all of those mental patterns that we thought were us, and they're beautiful. Like when I saw that, it was like cities were falling, but and look, I hope that is not actual, like that is just a metaphorical vision that I was seeing of cities were falling. But it's like all of these constructs, the social constructs, the societal construct, the constructs that we have within our own heads, our belief about ourselves, our belief about our relationships, our belief about the role on this planet. All of these things that are not true, they're not self, they're not our source essence, are going to be falling away. And a lot of people are still so heavily invested in the belief that this is true, that these are their lives, that this is why they're here. And that's going to be really, really hard for those people. So we need to be gentle, supportive. For those of us that can see and that are excited about the fall, have compassion. Because a lot of people, this is coming out of nowhere. They've been completely blindsided by this transformation that our world is going through. I myself personally feel finally I understand. It's been happening for a while, but you know, as someone that grew up as a young girl that was completely could not understand, was completely convinced I had been born at the wrong time, it all makes perfect sense as to why I am here. And it doesn't scare me. It actually, if I have to be completely honest, it really, really excites me. And the more chaos we see out there, the more exciting it actually is, because these systems have to crumble. And whilst some part of me knew that I was going to see it in my lifetime, another part of me really didn't expect to see it. I didn't expect to see the systems that are out there that are starting to crumble. I didn't believe that I would see it in my lifetime, and I'm so excited to see it happening, because I know what can happen, what amazing transformations could happen out of the crumbling. But I do see it taking time for that rebuilding. I do see our lives and our worlds being in chaos for, I want to say, many hundreds of years. Now, I know that's not going to be a popular thing, but I'm going to go into the reading the timelines, because I'm just going from my own personal perspective right now. I really can't see how we can have the change and it not take more than a lifetime. However, the thing that's really exciting and the thing that gives me hope that we can have change in a shorter time than that is, how quickly did the monolithic governments shift? I don't know why they shifted. I'm still completely perplexed as to why there has been the action that has happened in our big monolithic government structures. Now, people will buy into the conspiracy theory ideas. I'm still not, I'm going to sit on the fence with that. I don't desire to read those energies. There is so much entanglement. There are many traps there. I don't wish to go there. All I can say is that it would take an absolute intuitive genius to read those energies correctly and not fall into the traps. It's not as clear cut as it seems. It's certainly neither of the two main stories that we are being given at the moment. The mainstream or the conspiracy, neither of those is actually what's happening. And that's all I'm going to say about that. So, all right. I'm just going to sit and pause that energy, the reading for a moment while I tune into those energies for a bit longer. I don't think you want to watch me tuning into them. Hang on a sec. So the 2021 energies, it took me a little while to work out what was actually going on there. And it's interesting that I prefaced this talking about the false light, because what I actually saw was a huge increase in the false light energies, the light energy that hits our mental sphere, and it has nothing to do with actually authentic light. That was huge, and I just wanted to speak about that before going into the energies any further. But 2021, a huge influx of false light. All right, let's keep going. Okay, and as that false light comes in, it can be harder in some ways to get into our heart, to get into our, get more into our authenticity. It's quieter, it's much quieter. There's a lot. Okay, so the false light is internally can be, for a lot of people, it's going to be coming in, but externally, a lot of the spiritual spaces, a lot of the places where people are turning to for their awakening process are going to be filled with false light loudly. It's a distraction. And it's got nothing to do with our actual awakening. All right. because actually the actual awakening is really quite still and it's really quiet. And there's not a lot of movement. It's as if all of that crisis energy has fallen away somehow. Okay, so when we access that true light, that true space within our hearts, it's like there is a whole new world in there, and it's quiet and it's calm and it's clear, and it's like a beautiful spring. And it's not calling for any action. It's not calling for us to do anything apart from be present and observe. As I'm sitting here, I feel like I'm sitting in this beautiful new, it's like a whole new planet that is this just awakening into glorious springtime. It's like fresh green grass and small flowers and the most beautiful, beautiful, still, light, calm energy. And I've never actually liked the term New Earth, because when I hear it spoken of so many times, to me, it's that same level polarity as New World Order and New Earth. It's in that false light spectrum that it's spoken about so many times, but yet I really do feel like I'm sitting and perceiving a whole new Earth. Okay, interesting. And I do feel that it's like this new vibration of sitting in our heart center is actually pulling and separating out from the other. That 3D world of mental story. But you know what we do? We sit in this new world and we wait. And we wait. And we wait. So it's like those of us who are ready to make that transition in 2021, it's this beautiful, beautiful world that we can sit and wait. I was just having a look because I felt like there was quite a few people that were sitting with that new earth. I need to find a new term for that because the other one's too attached in another timeline, but in this new world, this new existence, and it's like this entire realm, it's not a realm, entire existence is actually within their heart space. And yet the rest of them is still existing in the 3D world of duality. And it's like until everybody that is making that transition has joined, this 3D world is still going to exist. So where does that leave the people that are existing in two worlds at the same time? I think I'm going to have to go up higher and get some external guidance on that. Because from the place that I'm currently doing this read, I can't really understand those energies in enough of a way to actually give language to it to describe it to you. So I'm going to raise up and bring you some guidance. I'm going to do it from a number of different places. And I'm not going to talk to you about the names of the guides that I use. What I'm going to say is that I have a pretty good barometer for assessing the motives of the guides that I work with. I don't actually ever ask my guides for their names because it's not something that I have ever been curious about. I will read the energy and the intent of my guides, and I believe it is part of my ancestral understanding. I don't need to go into that. I can record a video for you about why I know about the integrity of my guides, and if you want me to do that, I'm more than happy to do that at another time. All right. Okay, so 2020 is going to be a very, very challenging time for many because it's the time of the split. Okay. It's like we feel like we've been racing towards a time of action, and 2021 is not a time of action. It's a time of wait. It's a time of observation, of sitting and waiting. And that's not the energy that people have expected. It's not the energy that people expected to meet this transition and change with. We expected to see the change happen. There's a lot of people that wanted to do something to create the change. We didn't want to hold this new way inside ourselves with nothing to do but observe it. There was lots of people, and I say we because I like to speak a bit. It's like there's this need for this doing, this acting, this, and that's just not the energy of 2021. Apart from in the false light sphere. In this false light sphere, there is huge polarity, causes lots of action. Okay, so there can be so much action happening there. It's like in that action is staying in the same system that we've been in. So how do we wait? And do we wait in both worlds? It's like some wait in both worlds. Some are waiting in the other world only. So how does that transition happen? I might leave that for another video, that transition. I'll make this for the ones that are holding that transit. I'm going to call it the transition energy, the energy of a completely new way of existing with the new world, new realm, new, no, these are not the right words. New, it's a new level of existence, and it exists within your heart space. Oh, that's a beautiful vision. So we've heard a lot about the people that are here as bridges, but I just had the most beautiful, beautiful vision of this realm full of, I keep calling it a realm, and it isn't. Why do I keep calling it a realm? Okay, so in our fairy tales, I keep calling it a realm because hidden within our fairy tales is kind of, it's the clues in how we get there. It's like realms often have bridges or transitional places. And we've heard a lot in the past about people who are bridges. It's like by holding this energy, this realm, open and fully in existence within our heart space, we actually open the door for the transition to happen. It's like we literally become the bridge. We literally become the portal. We're quite literally are opening doors to this new non-polarity existence that is founded in love, that is light, that is source. And we hold this, the entryway to this place within our heart center. And how we keep our heart center open through this time is by quietly and authentically enjoying our time in the 3D world. It's the words that are coming through are we stop fighting, but it's not in a way that we are resigned to going about and living in a world that we don't fit in or that we don't agree in. It's that we have to become completely authentically aligned in everything that we do. Every action that we have in the 3D material world needs to be congruent. And in 2021 and the years leading up to it, we need to be accountable for our actions, and that's accountable for all of the actions within our lives. So that's why it becomes quieter, it becomes more simple. We become aware of the ramifications of our existing in this world. It's like, how can we become ethical beings on all levels? We're being asked to make sure that we come into alignment on all levels so that we are eating and feeding ourselves and clothing ourselves and housing ourselves and spending our money in completely ethically aligned ways, that we are not standing on anybody else in order to survive. We are being asked to live within our means. As a planet. So this never-ending growth that has been happening stops. This idea of success being something big has got to stop. The idea that success is anything other than holding this new reality in our heart space has got to stop. And as I'm sitting here looking at my paints, it is that quiet play. And I'm also sitting here looking at my paints and I'm thinking, whilst I know where a lot of the things that I wear come from, I have no idea where these paints are made. I don't know the production line from start to finish, but this is what we're being asked to do. It's like it's no longer okay to buy something and not know how it's harming someone, either before it was made or after it's being disposed of. That's no longer okay. In 2021, we're being asked to be accountable on all levels. This is how we move through the life. This is our challenge. This is where we shine the light on things, as so many people are saying. We shine the light on our accountability with every bit of our action. We cannot say we're being a light worker when we wear clothes that are being made by small children out of fabric that is polluting in its colouring, and record a video or speak about healing people with light. It just that there is no space for that level of incongruence. We can't claim to heal people with herbs whilst pillaging dwindling supplies that is not able for people to take around the world. This sort of blindness, this sort of blinkered thinking has got to stop. It's going to be fucking hard. There are so many systems that are set up that feel like we cannot move. Like, how can I move in this world and be an ethical being? It feels impossible. So we have had to put blinkers on so that we can go forward, so that we can act in a way that's not making us feel crippled by the bad choices that we have to make, because there are no good choices to be had. But we have to stop. We have to say, I refuse to make bad choices. And by refusing to make bad choices, it opens the field for so many people to start creating from an ethical foundation. We need to start demanding ethical foundations in everything. I want to be an ethical being, the way I eat, the way I clothe myself, the way I house myself, the way I educate my children, the way I earn my money. Every single part of our actions needs to be accountable. And that is what we're being called to do. So you think you're doing nothing in the waiting? I say there's a heck of a lot to do. And please don't get distracted by the loud spiritual light that you can do everything in the spiritual realm. We need to hold that vision, the authentic, source-aligned, new world, new vibration that we are creating within our heart spaces. That is an entire new existence. And become accountable in this old 3D world, this old 3D paradigm. Because as we do that, it's only through that that we will all awaken, so that we can all make the transition through these incredible portals that people are holding within their heart space. Wow. Alrighty. Cool. Well, I want to say see you on the other side, but I guess I'll see you before then. So lots and lots of love to you, and chat to you soon. Bye.